Hello again. In this episode, we are going to talk about how to not get upset and stressed out. How many times do we get stressed out in life and we get upset? I remember a life-changing moment when I heard a German saying that said, "You can choose to be upset, but you're not obligated to be." Wow, I started to think about that. So one of the powerful tools that I like to use with moments that matter is what I call a split-second turn. And I'm going to give you 4 different examples, stories that will help you understand what a split-second turn is. I'm Doug Andrew, and unfortunately, I have missed a lot of opportunities in my life, moments that mattered, and now I'm sort of trying to do better, repent, and try to improve from that. And so I learned from my good friend, Dr. Robert Cooper, how to do a split-second turn, and he's not the only one. This is people like George Pransky, who wrote the Relationship Handbook, also taught me the power of the mind. So I'm going to share a story with you, an experience I had with my brother. I have one brother. His name is Sherm, and when we were growing up, he was called Sherm the Worm, and I was Doug the Bug. Okay? So I remember after my mother passed away, I was very, very busy. My brother was busy in his business. And one day I had about 40 minutes for lunch. And so I stopped by Sherm's office and I said, "Hey, let's go out and grab a quick bite to eat, a hamburger, a shake or something." And so we got in my car and I was talking a mile a minute. And we got in this intersection. It was the busiest intersection in the state of Utah at the time. But I was very familiar with this intersection because I had been in it almost every morning going to college for 4 years. And it had a left-hand turning lane, and I knew in that left-hand turning lane that when the arrow turned green, if it sensed motion, it would let probably 15 cars go through. But if it didn't sense motion, it didn't think any cars were there, and it would immediately turn yellow. Well, we were about the 6th car back, and I'm talking to my brother, and the light turns green, and I'm in a hurry, okay, and I, come on, and the lead car is not paying attention. And so the light turns immediately yellow. Has that ever happened to you? And as I saw this unfolding, I turned to my brother and I said, "Ugh, some dumb idiot is not paying attention, and now we're going to have to wait." And just then, the lead car finally wakes up. The only car to get through the intersection. The rest of us are penalized. We all have to wait. But the one who caused it gets through. That lead car came into full view as it's lunging through the intersection. And it was a cream-colored Chevrolet Monte Carlo with a distinguished gray-haired gentleman sitting in it. And I said, "And it's Dad." It was our father. And I immediately changed to, "Oh, I wonder what's on his mind. Let's see if we can catch up and get his attention and take him to lunch." Now, what is it that caused me to change that fast to taking an idiot to lunch? It was because I recognized who it was and I changed that quick. That is a split-second turn. I began to realize anybody who does that is probably somebody's father. And so what's the difference? It's all up here. See, you can choose to be upset, but you're not obligated to be. And so I learned that day that it's all up to me how I can change my mind. Well, there's another example. When we were raising our 6 children, my wife, our second daughter, was named Adria. And she was the one that when we went on a vacation one time, the alarm went off. And the police, if they can't get hold of us, they have permission to go into our house and check things out to see if we were broken into. And so they went in and they finally got hold of us and they said, "Hey, your alarm went off. We went into your house and it doesn't look like anybody broke in. But we did find one room that looked like it was ransacked. It was our daughter Adria's room. She never lived that one down. And so my wife is very sweet, 4 foot, 11 and a half inches tall, okay? And oft times when Adria would go to junior high and not make her bed or hang up her clothes, Sherry, my wife, would say, Adria, you go to junior high one more day without making your bed, hanging up your clothes, and tidying up your room, I'm going to march down to that junior high, pull you out of class, and just then the phone would ring. And it would be somebody in our neighborhood or in our church. And my wife would go, hello? Oh, fine. And our kids would go, that's not the mother she was a second ago. Now, what allowed her to go from wah, 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 to hello? Oh, fine. It's all up here. It happens that fast. That is the split-second turn. You have the power to do that anytime you want. So let me give you another story. My friend Keith one day was in this mental hospital. And as he's walking down the hall out of his blind side, a man knocks him down, gives him the nosebleed. He's down on the floor and he's bleeding, and he stands up to retaliate and counterattack this man when 3 nurses jump around the nurses' station and announce, Joe's having a seizure. Joe's having a seizure. And my friend Keith went instantly from retaliation and revenge to assistance, help, and compassion. That's a split-second turn. That fast. I'll give you one last example. I want to give you the setting for this one. So I call this the teeth shattering episode. I remember one morning I had an audience. We would hold these 3-day clarity retreats, and this was the 3rd day. It was a Saturday morning. And as we came to greet this audience, we started at 8 a.m. sharp. It was going to go until 5 p.m. that day. My wife and I had been working out that morning. We work out at a gym with a trainer from 6 to 7 in the morning. And as we were coming, she was holding her iPad in one hand and a protein shake in the other hand. And so I was helping her, but I thought, okay, I got to go open the door for her. So as I was going to open the door, because it's a magnetic fob type thing, I went to do that, and all of a sudden I heard this thud. And I turned around, and she had tripped on an uneven part of the concrete on the sidewalk. And to save her iPad and her protein shake from spilling all over, she hit the cement sidewalk teeth first, face first. It shattered her teeth right here. She had just had cosmetic dentistry done. And she was bleeding really bad. And I felt horrible. She was like, oh no. And I had this audience. I had to go in and greet them and be positive. She knew that. And she said, Doug, you need to go in there and change some lives. I will be just fine. I will call Dr. Hammond. Now, Dr. Hammond is our dentist. He's the one that did the cosmetic dentistry for her. It was a Saturday morning. He was teeing off at a father and son's golf tournament, and she called him because she knew he would answer her call. And he did, and she heard him tell the other golfers, hey, play through. I've got to take this call. He was so empathetic, and he said, oh, Sherry, don't worry. I can build your smile again beautifully, but it's going to be painful. It's going to swell up, and it won't do any good to come in until the swelling goes down. Please take a picture at this angle and this angle with your phone. Send it to me. Okay. Now, what I want to do, you go down to the emergency room and just get an x-ray, send it to me, and then here's some pain medication. And then tonight, when the swelling is controlled, I will drive to your home. He lived an hour away. I'm very grateful for him. See, a lot of dentists won't do that. But what my wife said was, Doug, do your thing. Now, what she was referring to, and there's nothing magic about this, but I put my thumb on my forefinger. Why? This is a triggering mechanism. Whenever I do that, before I walk through the door to speak to an audience, I let everything else go that just happened. I don't care how critical it was. I let it go, and I instantly go back to a moment when I achieved what I thought was impossible. One of my favorite is in 2007. My 3rd book was released, and I had an audience of 2,200 people. in San Diego, California, at the Marriott Hotel. Time Warner was there, and it was my third book. We were hoping it would become a New York Times and Wall Street Journal #1 bestseller, and it did. But the night before, I had a burger at the Marriott, and I got food poisoning. I was sicker than a dog. I had been jogging that morning and I had torn my ACL and I was limping. I was limping and I was sick, and I had to go perform for 2.5 hours on stage to 2,200 people. I put my thumb on my finger and I said, okay, it's being in the flow. And I got up for 2.5 hours and I didn't worry about my bladder. I didn't worry about my nausea. I didn't worry about my limp. In fact, I didn't limp. And when I went off stage, I just about fainted and collapsed. But I remember how I was able to achieve the impossible by putting my state of mind there. So that's what I did that morning. And she said, do your thing. And I went in and I was able to let her be taken care of by our doctor while I went in and empowered an audience. It's all up here. So the split-second turn rule is simply take an instant to delay, get your bearings back, and choose the response. It's life-changing. You know, carpe diem means seize the day. Carpe momenti means seize the moment. It's my hope that you'll recognize and notice moments that matter. You'll lean into what's possible and you become better. I would recommend that we choose to be around and celebrate moments that matter.